Watching Center Stage with Rahul Kabal.
Good evening and welcome. Over the past 4 decades, Shiv Sena has resorted to many disgusting forms of protest, but none quite as wasteful and distasteful as Operation White Flood. Milk that could have fed 2.5 lakh hungry children wasted on the streets to register protest. Absolutely disgusting. We will debate this on Center Stage tonight. Also on the show this evening, a special tribute to double Tondulkar. Kapil Dev, Saurav Ganguly and Chief Selector Krishmanachari Shrikant will join me at 9:30 p.m. tonight as we debate whether Sachin's hunger for runs has grown with age. You don't want to miss this heavyweight panel of cricketing legends. Let's get started. These are the headlines today. With 66 days to go, Commonwealth Games Federation CEO Mike Hooper slams Delhi's preparedness, tells headlines today it's going to be a race against time. He hits out against MS Gill, says the sports minister has no idea about athletes and big sporting events.
We all realise the magnitude of the task ahead of us, and there's a lot of work to do, and there's no denying that, and nobody is denying that. What we are all doing is working together to see what must be done is done.
Manishankar Iyer is in no mood to shut up as the Congress tears its hair over the former sports minister's unsettling comments. A defiant Iyer stands his ground, but from Salman Khurshid to Ajay Makhan, Congress ministers voiced their dismay over Iyer's scathing attack. Headlines today's expose on the blatant plunder of Karnataka's natural wealth forces the government to act. Yedurappa bans export of iron ore from 10 ports. This is a Headlines Today national impact. 27 million rupees and counting. That's the price of pandemonium over price rise in the monsoon session. As the government refuses a vote on price rise, a determined opposition closes ranks to stall both houses for the third day running.
इसलिए चर्चा चाहते हैं ऐसे रूल के तहत जहां पर वोटिंग हो, ताकि इस वोट के दबाव में चलते हुए सरकार कुछ ठोस कदम उठाए। इसलिए मेरा सुझाव था कि हम तमाम विपक्षी लोग लड़ाई तो लड़ रहे हैं, लेकिन सन 77 की स्थिति।
And God saves the day for India. Sachin Tendulkar slams his 5th double ton in tests in an impressive rescue act in Colombo. The Master Blaster is now the 3rd Indian with 5 double centuries under his belt. Headlines today says, take a bow, Master. Thousands of liters of milk down the drain. That's the Shiv Sena's ugly protest in Pune. And this in a country where almost 6 million children, the highest in the world, die every year because of malnutrition. The Sainiks were out to protest against a government decision to import milk powder from New Zealand. They claim the move will badly impact local dairy farmers, and the Sena's way to save them was to stop milk tankers in the middle of the road and to spill the milk. Outrageous. See it for yourself.
These streams and waterfalls of milk are no signs of abundance. It's a shameful waste, a horrendous travesty in a poor country. Milk worth millions is going down the drain, quite literally. An utterly disgusting and shameful protest by Shiv Seniks. The trigger, the government's decision to import 30,000 tons of milk powder and 15,000 tons of ghee from New Zealand. Angry Shiv Seniks stopped a milk tanker on the Satara-Pune road and drained it of every drop of milk. 50,000 litres gone down the drain. Watch the sheer joy and elation on the faces of these vandals as they flood the streets with milk. What a shameful way to fight for the local dairy operators and farmers.
शेतकरी लोगों का बहुत बड़ा नुकसान होने वाला है और शेतकरी रास्ते पे आ सकते हैं, इसलिए ये दूध पाउडर जो आयात करने का निर्णय केंद्र शासन ने लिया है, ये त्वरित रुकना मांगता है। नहीं
अगर हम जो ये इंपोर्ट करके ऑर्डर लेके आ रहे हैं तो फिर हमारे यहाँ के किसान तो बेमौत मर जाएंगे, और अगर ये ऐसा करने गवर्नमेंट करेंगे तो गवर्नमेंट के खिलाफ हम लोग जाएंगे।
Point taken, but isn't this protest hurting the poor too? Especially in a country where millions of children go without milk every single day. Shockingly, this isn't the first time that the Shiv Sena is milking the poor. Similar visuals of criminal wastage. Pictures of a similar protest in Satara just 6 days ago. A mind-boggling 45,000 litres of milk flushed out by a farmers' organisation aligned to the Shiv Sena. And this may not be the last. The farmers and dairy producers are up in arms against the government's decision, which they believe may shortchange them. The farmers are also sore that the government has slashed local purchase by 20%.
भारत सरकार की जो और कृषि मंत्रालय की जो पॉलिसी कृषि मंत्रालय ने अपनाई है और एनडीडीबी ने अपनाई है कि इंपोर्ट करने की, वो पूरी तरीके से गलत है। आज इसके कारण देश के 80% किसानों को भुगतना पड़ रहा है।
This bizarre protest has incited anger and outrage across political circles.
Lot many hundreds thousands of children in this country are deprived of milk. Undernutrition, they are surviving. And in that situation, if you waste that milk, if you want to lodge your protest, if you want to launch an agitation, don't waste that milk.
The protest on the import of milk powder that started from Satara district has now got support in Pune district as well. The protesters have now threatened to attack the vehicles carrying imported milk powder if the central government doesn't intervene and finds a proper solution on this issue that has started boiling. With Ashar Khan from Delhi, this is Pankaj Khelkar for Headlines Today from Pune.
This is not something new for the Shiv Sena. In the past too, unruly Shiv Sainiks have created a huge ruckus on several occasions and damaged public property. They are in fact infamous for their hooliganism. Let's take a look at some of the recent acts of shame by the Shiv Sena. On the 12th of July, Shiv Sena warned FM radio channels in Mumbai to play only Marathi songs. They even protested at a radio station's office, threatening the station with dire consequences if they fail to adhere to their diktats. From radio to films, all hell broke loose at the time of the release of My Name is Khan, a controversy still vivid in everybody's minds. In February this year, Shiv Sainiks tried everything to disrupt the screening of the film. The Sena was angry over SRK's stand regarding Pakistani players in the IPL. Sena wanted SRK to apologize, but Shah Rukh stood his ground and refused to say sorry. What followed exposed the real face of the organization. In November 2009 too, Kareena Kapoor's bareback poster for the film Qurban irked the Shiv Sena. More than 100 Shiv Sainiks took to the streets and tore down posters of the film. The Sena's argument was that Kareena Kapoor's pose violated Indian culture. The Sainiks even put a sari around Kareena Kapoor in some of these posters. So who will put an end to such madcap protests? That's the center stage face-off question for tonight. Before I begin, I want to play out once again the images of this most distasteful, most disgusting protest in Pune. And I want to take you through some figures. There's 65,000 litres of milk that were wasted. Let's assume that every child in India has about 250 millilitres of milk every day. That would mean that this 65,000 litres of milk could have fed 260,000 people. That's the number of people who could have been fed if the Shiv Sena hadn't gone and orchestrated this most distasteful, disgusting protest. Abhishek Singhvi, national spokesperson of the Congress party, the allegation is against the government. The Shiv Sena is saying because the policies have been tweaked to allow the import of milk powder, they're left with no option but to protest in this fashion. Abhishek Singhvi will give us the government's perspective. Rahul Navrekar is the spokesperson of the Shiv Sena. He's joining us. Rahul, I want to begin by asking you, these distasteful images which are on the screen right now. So many people in this country die of hunger, malnutrition. What sort of a bizarre, this is insensitive. When so many people are going hungry, do you not believe that this is the most insensitive act on the part of people from your party?
Well, Rahul, at the outset, let me make one thing very clear. It is unfortunate that Sainiks have to resort to this kind of an agitation. But if this is the only way we can open the eyes of a blindfolded government, which is highly insensitive towards the issues of the farmers and dairy developers, then so be it. We are talking about 65,000 liters of milk being wasted today. Have you taken account of the lakhs of liters of milk that is wasted due to the inefficient lack of proper management of storage capacity by the state government? Have you ever realized what is the nexus, what is the cartel that is being played by private dairy developers and the government, thanks to which
but the question Rahul is about the fashion in which this protest is being conducted.
Please hear me out. No, 1 minute. Maybe so. The protest may have resorted to certain means which are not probably cannot be appreciated. But thanks to this protest, we are making an attempt to open the eyes of this blindfolded government. Thanks to this protest, today you've taken up this issue and come before the nation. The artificial hike, the artificial lack of supply that has been created by NCP and Congress politicians who are running private dairies, who are running cooperative dairies and creating this false shortage of milk supply.
Okay.
Please talk about that.
I'm coming back to you. Rahul. I want to get initial comments from Dr. Singhvi. The Shiv Sena is saying the government is blindfolded. If we hadn't resorted to a protest in this fashion, Dr. Singhvi, the government would never have budged. This issue would have never hit the national headlines. This is the only way we could have done it. We've done it. Is that an acceptable explanation, sir?
If you'll give me my 2 minutes, Rahul, I've heard the whole thing. I think it is atrocious, it is unstatable, it is completely unjustified. The Shiv Sena is talking about blindfolded. These people, the Shiv Sena, the political class which they represent, are blind, deaf and dumb to the sensitivities of the Indian public. First of all, this is the mode of protest we are talking about. It is nothing but lumpen gundaism. It has no place even in lesser democracies, certainly not in a proud democracy like India. Number two, these are the yearnings of a Shiv Sena struggling to be born again. They have hit the verge of extinction. This is crying out loud, "Main hoon na," and they are doing it by fascist means, by intolerant means, by ridiculous means, which no self-respecting government can tolerate. And I have no hesitation in saying that the entire might of the law should be used against such lumpen gunda elements. Number three, do you think that they are going to achieve any reform in this manner? Are they going to demolish a bus carrying milk to school children tomorrow because they have some problem with the milk policy? Yes, if they have constructive nitty-gritty suggestions to improve storage, and I have no hesitation in saying that India loses grain in a terrible way by wasting it, by not storing it. Similarly, it does lose milk. Well, we can all work together by constructive solutions to that. The answer is not to start toppling milk carts and milk vans in this gunda element, in this gunda manner. And let me tell you that these people have, this is the most important point, Rahul, these people have made it a habit. They slap you, they murder you, and then they start the discussion by saying, "Oh, we're very sorry, it's most unfortunate that happened, but," and then the but carries on. It's only the but they're interested in, not the unfortunate part, not the sorry. This
okay, Rahul Navrekar, respond to each of these very powerful points that Dr. Singhvi has made about this hooliganism and the fashion in which the protest was conducted.
Well, I would like to tell Dr. Singhvi that despite his best attempt, fancy words are not going to distract the people and take their minds off the core issue. Please address the issue that what about the lakhs of liters of milk that your government is wasting every day? Mr. Singhvi is talking about gundaism. What is the Congress party all about? We resort to these activities probably for the welfare of the people of this country and this state. We at least don't go beat up our own people for party posts and party meetings. The whole nation has seen what your organization, what your office bearers have done yesterday in Pune. So let's set the better. Please introspect, look into your own house and then point fingers at others. Number two, who is controlling 80% of the private dairies and cooperative dairies in the state of Maharashtra? It is the Congress and NCP politicians who are controlling these. It is a nexus between, I am making an open allegation on television today and I challenge Mr. Singhvi to defend this. The Congress and NCP legislators control majority, politicians control majority of the private dairies and cooperative dairies in the state of Maharashtra. It is the nexus between these politicians and the government that is creating a false shortage of dairy products. And the brunt of this is being borne by the poor farmers. Today we are in a state where the farmers for the last couple of years have had severe drought problems. There has been a complete crop failure, and as an alternate they are resorting to dairy development. The government should promote this.
But Rahul, what you are admitting on the show is the exact reason why the NDDB, the National Dairy Development Board, has been forced to import milk powder, because there's been a drought, because there's a shortage of milk supply. That's the reason why it's being imported. There's a legitimate reason behind it.
The reason for the shortage, the reason for the so-called shortage of milk supply is the cartel between private dairy developers and the government. Please understand, because of lack of proper storage facilities.
No, but why don't you respond to what Dr. Singhvi is saying? Why is the protest not constructive? Why not focus on the nitty-gritties, the substance of this?
In the artificial shortage, there is absolutely no shortage of milk products in the state of Maharashtra. This is an artificial phenomenon that has been created by this government.
Dr. Singhvi, the allegation is that it's the Congress and the NCP legislators, MLAs, MPs, ministers who control the dairy movement in Maharashtra, which is where farmers are facing this problem, and therefore it's the Congress leaders who are responsible for the scarcity. Respond to what Rahul is saying, sir.
First of all, isn't that amusing that you are now discussing the merits of a subject, whereas the discussion today has nothing to do with the merits of a subject? Let me assume that Mr. Rahul has a valid point of view. Once again, there is a valid point of view. He can debate it, write about it, shout about it, carry abhiyans on the street and adopt every other form of protest. Is it, let me assume, much worse is happening in milk cooperatives? On what earthly basis is this hooliganism and gundaism justifiable? Tomorrow when the opposition doesn't agree on the adjournment motion decision by Speaker Veera Kumar, on that analogy, the entire Indian Parliament should be up in arms breaking things. That's what the Shiv Sena is advocating. We are not discussing merit. This is a typical Goebbelian technique to take you away from the true issue. The true issue is the nasty, brutish face of the Shiv Sena. They should have had the guts first to carry a democratic protest, or when they had their brief stint in power, which the public of India and Bombay and Maharashtra have regretted ever since, they should have busted all the cooperatives they are complaining about. I don't see any challenge in whatever is told to me. I don't see any facts. If he has any facts, and if there is any criminality, let him bring it to the fore. The law will take its course.
Okay, but Rahul Navrekar, respond to this, that the Shiv Sena has been so weakened as a democratic institution. You've been so, hear me out, hear the question out. You've been so weakened as a democratic institution that now you don't have democratic ways of registering your protest. You have to resort to street-side hooliganism.
And promote it. Please look what happened in Pune yesterday in their internal party meet. There were party members beating other party members for simple posts. We are at least not resorting to this kind of cheap violence, and we are resorting to an agitation for the welfare of the people and the public of Maharashtra. That is the difference between Shiv Sena and Congress, which I am sure Mr. Singhvi should appreciate by now.
No, but you haven't answered the question. People from the Shiv Sena have now threatened to attack these tankers when they come in with the milk powder. That's the point that Abhishek Manu Singhvi is making, that you've been so weakened as a political force that you've got no option but to resort to hooliganism because democratically you're crippled.
Look,
No, that is absolutely untrue. Rahul, if this is the only means, unfortunately, by which this blindfolded government can be brought to its senses, then so be it. We are talking about 65,000 litres of milk being wasted today. I want to ask an account of the lakhs of litres of milk that is being wasted every day in Maharashtra because lack of proper infrastructure. How about that? Why
Let
can't
Dr. Singhvi respond to you. Dr. Singhvi wants to come in and has a point for you.
Let's not talk about vandalism.
Rahul, I want to say something.
Go on, sir.
The kind of gundaism
1 minute.
and the kind of vandalism
1 minute.
that
Can I just
Congress
say
is also
something?
Please go on, go on.
Can I say something? I mean, this is reductio ad absurdum. I mean, what is the logic? What is even the kutark to all this discussion? On that parity of reasoning, I admit clearly that lakhs of tons of wheat is in fact wasted by a variety of reasons because we don't have adequate storage. That's a problem. The Supreme Court has issued a PIL. Notice on that. Rightly so, I think. It is a very serious issue. By that parity of reasoning, all of us should go and destroy all the fields of wheat which have wheat because part of the wheat distribution system is inefficient. Is this logic? Does it have any connection? Or is it absurd things you are seeing? What is happening is, like you have a calling attention motion in Parliament, you are having a crying attention motion by a political party which feels that it is fading into oblivion. This is clearly political stuntbazi and sensationalism in a crying attention motion because they find that every possible old, current or new constituency of theirs has deserted them. That's the real problem, and it will not go away unless they realize either that the people have rejected them and that the people will not take them back if they continue with this stuntbazi. That's the real problem.
Alright, you're calling this stuntbazi, you're saying the party has been weakened. Rahul Navrekar says if he hadn't done this, the Congress wouldn't have woken up. This is the only way we could have hit the headlines. I let the viewers decide whether they believe that this protest has merit or not. For the moment, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Rahul Navrekar, thank you very much for joining us on the center stage face-off. The fact is the images are repulsive, they are revolting, and this form of protest cannot be condoned. We're heading into a very short commercial break right now. When we come back, Saurav Ganguly, Kapil Dev and Krishmanachari Shrikant will be joining us as we pay tribute to Sachin Tendulkar, who stood up and delivered today, scored a double century, batted along with Suresh Raina, ensured India doesn't lose the second test at Colombo. We'll also give you a chance to dial into Dada, speak directly to Saurav Ganguly. You can ask him whatever questions you want. Is Sachin Tendulkar, like old wine, getting better with age? Is his hunger going up as he continues to grow as a batsman? We'll talk about that when we come back. Stay with us, we're back in a moment.
Headlines today under attack for daring to speak up.
To put the lives of innocent employees of the TV channel in jeopardy is something which has to be condemned.
But the saffron soldiers refuse to back down.
कोई तोड़फोड़ नहीं हुआ था, शांतिपूर्ण धरना वहाँ हुई थी.
But we stand our ground.
Let there be healthy debate. Let the people of India decide. Let the investigators do their job and prove the case in a court of law.
Headlines today, standing up for the